I've been thinking a lot lately about tribute bands and asking the question, do tribute bands somehow hold the key or one of the keys to rock's future? It seems like a strange idea, but let me tell you a little bit about what I've been thinking. My wife and I this summer went out to see a lot of concerts in our area. Groups from the 50s, or actually from the 60s and 70s, that we've always enjoyed. Ringo Starr and his all-star band, Yes, Procol Harum, Jethro Tull, Peter Frampton. And we enjoyed those concerts immensely, as did a lot of the other people our age who went to the concerts. Clearly, there's still a market for this kind of music, especially as performed by the original artists. In the case of Ringo's group, though, he brings with him a number of other players. This year it was Edgar Winter, Rick Derringer, Gary Wright. All of them were part of the band. And the way it goes is they play some of Ringo's songs, some of his Beatles tunes, some of his solo tunes. Then they play hits by the other members of the group. So it really is a kind of a Ringo Starr and his all-star cover band, or you might even say Ringo Starr and his all-star tribute band. Now, a lot of tribute bands focus on the music of a single artist, and some go so far as to actually impersonate the artist themselves. Wigs, they put on the same costumes. Of course, they often will use the same instruments. They'll even put on accents on stage and imitate some of the in-between song patter that the original artists used. But a lot of other tribute bands just play the music and just try to do it in the most historically accurate way they possibly can. In fact, tribute band musicians are very good students of the styles that they imitate. And the popularity of these groups over the last decade or so really causes you to wonder exactly what's going on in that case. In the world of rock music, being in a tribute band is really being at the very bottom of the prestige ladder. Music journalists usually think of tribute band musicians as being hack musicians with nothing really new to add, really living off the luster of somebody else's fame. But as it turns out, a lot of performing groups in the world of music play the music of other artists. Symphony orchestras and string quartets, for example, play classical music, and nobody expects Beethoven to actually be present when the Fifth Symphony is performed. Jazz groups oftentimes play charts by famous musicians. Duke Ellington's arrangements are particularly popular. Nobody expects Duke Ellington to be present when one of those is performed. But somehow in the rock world, you have to have a special reason for doing somebody else's music. It has to be sort of a special song, or you have to do something very different with it, or maybe you found a kind of an old B-side that hopefully you want to breathe some new life into, but you can't just really get up there and perform the tunes the way they were on the record. It makes you wonder what's going to happen when these original musicians who played the music can no longer perform them. Are we not going to be able to hear them live anymore the way we're used to hearing them? See, there's the problem with rock music, and I think that's where the tribute band comes in. In many ways, tribute band is a kind of a halfway point. And in fact, what probably will end up happening, in my estimation, is that groups will begin to form that are more like what I would call a rock repertory ensemble. Tribute bands in the sense that they're trying to get the music historically accurate, the same way that maybe classical musicians might try to get the performance of a Bach piece or a Handel piece historically accurate, using the right kinds of instruments and the right kind of ornaments. And same thing happens in rock music, but these rock repertory ensembles would play the music of a number of different groups, even maybe groups from different eras. This is the way I can see forward for the continuation of the live performance tradition of historical rock music. What's ironic about it is that, as I said before, most rock journalists do not give tribute band musicians very much respect, but it may turn out in the end that tribute bands have more to do with rock's future than the music journalists themselves will.